And welcome to What's Up With This Weather, May 27th edition. I'm meteorologist Aaron Brackett here along with Jacqueline Ferris.
How are you?
Good. It's a nice rainy day out there. There's some thunderstorms out there. Can you tell the folks what happened last night that you were just telling me?
It was the best. So, in case people don't know, we're in Oklahoma City, home of the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Western Conference Finals are going on. The game tips off here in Oklahoma City at 7:30. At 7:36, when the actual game is starting,
This is last night, right?
Get an alert, yes, on my phone that says lightning detected within my radius of the Oklahoma City Metro. I really think News 4 helped to bring the thunder last night.
It was a thunderstorm in the meteorological sense and in the basketball sense, too.
I loved getting that notification. I bet I'm not the only one who got it.
That was great.
And liked the timing.
It was a great game. Congratulations to our Thunder. And hopefully they can close this thing out tomorrow. If not, they come back for Game 7 right here to get it done. Let's switch over from that Thunder to the actual Thunder that we have going on outside. We'll start out by taking a look at the radar here because we're in a really good pattern. And what we're going to see the rest of the day today, if you're watching this live or a little bit later on in the day, this batch of rainfall is moving in, and this is really good stuff. It's an area of low pressure that's off to Oklahoma's north and west. Let me get my little pointer going here. So you can see the spin right here. So that's what we call a mesolow, which means kind of tiny area of low pressure that's spinning out there. And right now we have some thunderstorms happening actually right outside the station. It does look like it's about sad to actually look out the window. Looks like it should be raining, if not now, a couple minutes from now. And you know what? We'll just go ahead and zoom in on that because we have a little handy-dandy thing that you might not have noticed. Maybe you have. See the little 4 right there? That is right where our radar is, which is a mile away from the station. So you can see the storms coming in from the east. There is some lightning and thunder with these. And there's a whole nother batch off to our south. So you can see this in North Texas, now moving into southern Oklahoma. That is some really, really good stuff right there. So here's how it was this morning. Clouds were thick. They were heavy. The rain kind of held off during the morning rush hour, but now it's certainly come on in. This is the 50 pen camera taking a look at the construction by the May Avenue Bridge. Road's a little bit damp over there from some earlier showers, but mostly dry. That too will change here in the next few minutes. There's temperature change. It's down, obviously, compared to the same time yesterday because we had sun at the same time yesterday. And there's our 73-degree temperature right now. Live temperatures across the board in the 70s. All right, so we're going to head to break real quick. We've got a whole lot more coming up for you. Coming up just after this short break on What's Up With This Weather. And welcome to What's Up With This Weather. I say welcome back. We had a little audio glitch, but we're back on track right now here on this May 27th edition of What's Up With This Weather. And we've got some good rainfall outside. It's really, really good stuff. Let's just dive into this thing because we've got rain and thunderstorms moving through and we don't have the severe weather. That is amazing. So the rain showers and storms coming in from North Texas, and there's an area of low pressure that's off to our north and west that's spiraling all this rain in here. So it's really, really good stuff. I know you're enjoying it.
I am. Honestly, it feels a bit fall-like outside.
Mm-hmm. And
May 20th, out and there were sprinkles.
May 27th, that's a win to feel fall-like.
Yeah.
I'll throw an audible. I'll give you a second, though. If we can get the tornado drought image, and then we'll look at the radar and Max 3. This is really spectacular because in the month of May, it is typically our busiest tornado month of the year. And again, knock on wood.
Look at that.
You can hear that. 0 tornadoes in Oklahoma this May. Wow, longest tornado drought since 2005. That year also had 0 tornadoes. Now, of course, we still have a few more days to go. But it's going to be really hard looking at the weather moving forward to get an actual tornado, maybe a funnel cloud or a land spout, very weak tornado that might try to touch the ground, but it's possible. It is entirely possible that we go through May keeping this amazing stat.
I kind of like it and like the idea that it can make up for years past.
Yes, and we've already had 58 tornadoes this year, and the average for the whole year is 59. So we want to keep this going.
Yes.
We'll go ahead and go over to Max 3 and look at the rain showers that we have across the area. This is good stuff. It's not severe, and it is going to help our Oklahoma drought. In fact, they are moving now into the Oklahoma City Metro if you're watching us live. So moving into eastern Oklahoma County. These do have lightning and thunder with them, so You're going to hear that, but really that's the only threat. Maybe some gusty winds, about 30, 35 miles per hour, the best kind of thunderstorm to get right there. And another complex has moved from North Texas now into Oklahoma, giving us additional rainfall that's going to come through. So really amazing stuff that we have ongoing. This will last the rest of this afternoon. It'll last this evening. And then more waves of rain and thunderstorms will also come in here for tomorrow. So just absolutely great. As we look outside here, this is this morning. The clouds were thick across the area, and they continue to be thick. There's a few peaks of sunshine in western Oklahoma, but there's a live look at the May Avenue Bridge, which non-weather related. The construction on this interchange has begun. It's expected to last about 2 years. That's going to help traffic in that area. So a lot of folks I've been asked before have said, or maybe told me, not really asked, I can tell you when the weather's going to change because I can feel it. I can feel it in my bones. I can feel it in my joints. And have you ever heard that too? Or maybe you experience it.
I can feel it.
Okay.
I can feel the weather.
You can feel the weather.
Yes.
So what exactly is going on here? Our meteorologist, John Slater, as part of the weather special, his little segment, he decided to go in and investigate this and find out what is going on when you can not only see the weather and smell it and experience it, but feel it in your body.
Do you have aches and pains in your joints, your knees, your shoulders? Did you ever think it could be the weather? When the weather changes, people pay attention to the skies, but many Oklahomans claim they knew storms were coming before they saw the forecast.
Because I would feel it, and the next day or two, it would come.
Candace Kai says her joint pain gets worse when storms move in.
I didn't relate it to my pain until it came in, it got a little worse. So then I thought,
Well, I've certainly had people tell me the same thing over my many years in practice, that they can tell when a storm front's coming, they can tell when it's getting ready to rain or snow. And we also know that we see deliveries go up on the labor wards at hospitals when fronts are coming through.
Dr. Melinda Kale says she treats patients who suffer from joint pain, some who claim it does get worse. And like Candace, the pain can be severe, just like Oklahoma's weather.
the knuckles, and they swell a little bit, so I can't get my rings on. My knees were going out on me, and my hands were killing me. I grip something and ooh, sharp pain.
Typically ahead of the front, when the barometric pressure fluctuates widely, that causes that shift in the fluids in the body and those tissues to swell. And then once the actual front hits and the storms come, then people start feeling better.
So what is atmospheric pressure? Pressure is the weight of a column of air from the top of your head to the top of the atmosphere. When a storm system or cold front is approaching, the pressure is falling. So if the pressure is falling, there's less weight on you, and your body expands. If your body expands, that could irritate old injuries, flare up arthritis, causing discomfort or even pain.
When I know when rain's coming,
I feel a pain, not a dull pain, and when I walk, I can feel it down my leg.
So, if atmospheric changes play a part in pain, is your body forecasting the weather?
So I ask people sometimes, do you ever notice it gets worse around weather changes? And then they can start to see a pattern. But I would say, listen to people when they tell you their joint is acting up, because they probably do know.
When Candace tells her friends the weather is about to change, but it will push a cold front in here Thursday night and the Friday morning, do they trust her more than TV meteorologists?
No. No, but not surprised when I do forecast.
If your joints swell and your bones ache as weather turns, you're not alone. As fronts approach and storms form, other Oklahomans are just like Candace, trying to manage the pain and reminding us all it's no fantasy.
No, not a fairy tale.
For the Forewarned Storm Team, I'm meteorologist John Slater.
There you have it. It is true. A lot of people can forecast, and you can too, apparently.
I believe it to be true. I definitely feel the joints swell, stiffness, pressure headaches. I don't know. It could all be just craziness.
Maybe
but...
you can help out with the Forewarned Storm Team then.
but I mean, I believe what she said. I definitely believe there are people that feel it, especially with the arthritis.
And she still trusts us. That's just confirmation
She still totally trusts you.
when she feels it. Yep. All right, that's good stuff. Coming up, we're going to take a short break. However, what we're going to talk about after the break is we are 4 days away from the anniversary of what was the world's largest tornado, the El Reno tornado of 2013, happening just 11 days after the May 20th Moore tornado. And we're going to talk a little bit about the man in this book here. This is Tim Samaras. One of the few books I've actually made it through because I don't read. I don't read that often, but this is a fascinating look into his career, his research, and unfortunately how that tornado, he lost his life in that tornado. He's a very, very skilled tornado tracker and researcher. We're going to look at the May 31st tornado in a lot of different ways coming up after this short break. Stick with us. And welcome back to What's Up With This Weather, talking about tornadoes again when we've had, I need wood to knock on quickly. Okay. When we've had 0 tornadoes in the month of May.
Yeah.
We are talking about tornadoes, historic tornadoes and very big tornadoes. In fact, the world's largest tornado ever recorded, the El Reno tornado of May 31st, 2013, which was officially 2.6 miles wide. In Oklahoma, our major roads are in a grid pattern, typically spaced about a mile apart. So if you think about, May, Penn, and Western, basically any part of the city, the tornado would cover an area bigger than May to Western. I mean, that's just crazy to think about. Absolutely crazy. The winds in the tornado were measured by Doppler radar to 313 miles per hour. And what's interesting, we're going to show you some video in a second, but what's interesting to note is that, you think of winds 313 miles per hour. What rating do you think that would be on the EF scale?
What was the speed again?
313, just some of the highest winds ever recorded.
EF 4 or 5.
You think so? And it was for a while. Okay. However, this was revised down to an EF3, even though it's the world's widest tornado.
Sure.
Pretty much the highest wind speeds ever recorded, because the EF scale is a damage scale, and it did not hit enough, super well-built things to classify it as a 5. There were actually months of debate that went into that, and basically the decision was made to make it a 3 because, okay, yes, you had the Doppler radar measuring it. Mm-hmm. It's a damage scale, not a wind scale. And also every tornado is not going to have the advantage of having a Doppler radar truck by it.
Right.
So if you just start doing that because, there's a truck here, but not here, it's going to skew the stats.
Interesting.
So,
interesting. But I guess that's kind of a good problem that happened because there weren't major structures to be taken out in this storm.
Well, and it looked like it was going to curve right into the West Metro, like Yukon, Bethany, War Acres.
I remember this one.
Mm-hmm. So let's go ahead and take a look. We're going to put the volume up a little bit so you can kind of relive what it was like when we were broadcasting this back on May 31st, 2013.
Mike, wow, this is a violent tornado. Oh my God, it's pulling up. Mike, wow, this is a violent tornado.
So you can see how it started out as little tornadoes, multiple vortex tornadoes, and then it grew. This point right here that we're watching wasn't even nearly as large as it was. And Emily Sutton and Kevin Josephy were actually in the outer bands of it, and that's what you saw right there, not those individual vortices that comprise the whole 2.6 mile wide monster, absolute monster. It was on the ground for 16.2 miles. So, fairly long. Didn't move. Technically, it didn't move that fast, but we'll kind of talk about how it became so dangerous coming up here in just a little bit. And we'll talk about Carl Jung and Tim and Paul Samaras and what happened to them in this. They were very, very seasoned storm trackers, actually researchers, and they did important work. So let's look at the track first here. So you saw it right there. That was the video that we had with our storm trackers as this was happening. So at the top of your screen is the city of El Reno. Okay. You have Highway 81 right there, the north and south, the east and west. Yellow road is I-40. So the interstate right there. And it began at 6:04. So we're going to start at the left-hand side of the screen, and there's little times along it. So what it did is it started going off to the south and east, which is a real interesting way for a tornado to go. That's not normal.
Okay.
And then it kind of leveled out and it was going due east. Okay, that's more normal. And then just before getting to Highway 81, it started curving like it was going to go northeast, very common, but then it took a sharp right. It went down and kind of did a dip, you can see right there near Highway 81. Then it crossed, it shot off to the north, crossed I-40, did a loop-de-loop, which is called occlusion. So it wrapped up on itself and then wobbled down I-40 before dissipating. So 6:04 start time, 6:42 was the end time right there. And keep in mind, this was just 11 days after the EF5 and more. So people were terrified. And you remember watching this too.
Oh, yes. It just felt like it was a time when the tornado warnings just would not take a break for days. It felt that way. Just a heightened sense around all of the state.
It's horrible. We'll show you some of the damage video from this. And again, it was mostly over rural areas. It avoided El Reno. It dissipated before entering the West Metro. But people still live out there. And this is what, happened. And again, this is not EF5 damage. These places were likely in the outer reaches of the main circulation, possibly just a little satellite tornado in a house like this, because, if it took a direct hit, the house wouldn't be there with winds of 313 miles per hour. So obviously horrible damage out there, but the track kept it out of the most populated areas, being El Reno and the West Metro, Yukon, Mustang, Bethany and War Acres, places like that. So that was some of the damage that was out there, the National Weather Service doing their storm surveys and all that. So I want to come back to the book, and I'll show you the picture in a second. We'll hold off for just a second. This is called The Man Who Caught the Storm, and it is about Tim Samaras, who spent decades researching tornadoes. And he, on this day, was out with his son, and Carl Jung was a friend or helped out with the research too. And he was out there on this day, researching, and they knew it was going to be a high-end day. Really good read if you want to read it. This is about not only his life, how he got into meteorology and engineering, and then his a lot of tales about his storm chases that he's seen, close encounters, things like that. But what he did is he basically invented these probes, and they were little cones like that. They were very heavy, I believe over 100 pounds. Don't quote me on the exact number. They were heavy, and they would try to get them in front of the tornado, and then back off, and it would, there were cameras in there that would record. There were instruments that would record pressure and temperature and all kinds of stuff, and they'd go back and get them. And they had a couple successful deployments over the years. And so let's fast forward to May 31st, 2013. They had a really big, it was a GMC, very large truck, a heavy-duty truck that they would take sometimes. And then other times they had a Chevy Cobalt, which obviously is a lot better on gas. And, this day, this El Reno day, Carl Jung, Tim Samaras, and Paul Samaras, his son, were all in the Chevy Cobalt. In the trunk were these instruments called turtles, these cones that weighed a lot. And they were tracking it. And like other chasers this day, the tornado had erratic movements. It was not a normal tornado the way it moved. And they got, in it, they were trying to get out of it. And just to kind of shorten it up and sum it up, they had the Cobalt with 3 adults and a trunk full of very heavy pods. And as the tornado grew, so its outward size grew and its forward movement, essentially the outside of the tornado, the outer edges of the tornado was moving at a combined about 70 miles an hour at this time. And they were trying to drive away from it with inflow winds coming at their vehicle. So even with the pedal to the floor, they just couldn't escape the tornado, and it came up on them. And unfortunately, they all lost their lives that day in the tornado. So the photo of the car kind of says it all. Really, it was this is what first responders came up on, and so you can see that's what's left of what was a 4-door smaller sedan. There's a few more details I won't get into, but you can research it or go read the book if you'd like. But I will say that the engine was not on the frame anymore. It was removed. You can see the front wheel is not there anymore. It was gone. It was gone. And if you know about cars or engineering, or just levy a guess, you know the engine is very solid and strong and bolted in there, very to the frame, to the drivetrain, to everything. It's the heart of the vehicle, and it was removed.
That's wild.
Yeah. So, I mean, it still gives me chills to kind of talk about and look at this so far past. So, again, 2.6 miles wide. It's going to go down as an EF3, technically, even though it had winds of over 300 miles per hour. Aside from those 3 researchers, there were 5 more fatalities, so a total of 8 fatalities and 151 injuries. Again, meteorologist Tim Samaras, Paul Samaras, and Carl Young, they were on a team called Twistex, which is a researching, they actually did a lot of good research over the decades that they were out there. So that was a horrible day in Oklahoma history.
And can you remind the name of the book if people want to?
Oh, yes, of course. It's called The Men Who Caught the Storm. Get it anywhere you get books, of course. And about almost 300 pages, really good read about his life. Not just this, but all that he contributed to science. It's just, he was an incredible man. So,
and you actually finished it. I
finished it, which is incredible. Ask my wife. She's like, man, you finished a book? I'm like, yeah, I did. I couldn't put it down. So there we go. So we'll let you go right now for this edition of What's Up with This Weather. Again, if you're watching us live, expect rain chances to continue this afternoon. Severe weather chances very, very low. Rain tonight and some scattered showers and thunderstorms for tomorrow. It's a really good pattern. We're going to chip away at this drought for sure. And we'll talk to you this same time next week, 1:30 next Wednesday on What's Up with This Weather. Have a great rest of your day and stay safe.